Good evening, I'm Keisha Betts with the CTV News Update. Our top story tonight, Governor Larry Hogan holds a press conference to provide residents with a COVID-19 update. Noting that Maryland has one of the highest vaccination rates in the country, Governor Hogan said nearly 8 million Marylanders have been vaccinated. Just last week, Maryland had the lowest COVID-19 case rate in the nation. The governor then turned his attention to booster shots, and he encouraged eligible Marylanders to get them. He said the state is putting the infrastructure in place to meet the need. He also talked about schools.
The other area where we are awaiting action from the federal government is the approval of vaccines for 5 to 11-year-olds. Earlier this week, Pfizer submitted data to the FDA showing that its vaccine is safe and effective for children. We anticipate that approval of this will come by the end of October. With that in mind, I have directed state health officials to advance and accelerate their operation plans for vaccinating children, working closely with pediatricians, school systems, and local health departments.
Meantime, the Prince George's Health Department is now offering COVID-19 vaccine booster shots to eligible residents. The county clinic at the Wayne K. Curry Sports and Learning Center will provide Pfizer booster shots. Residents 65 years and older and adults 18 to 64 with underlying medical conditions can get the shots. Also, adults 18 to 64 who work in fields at risk of exposure to COVID-19 are eligible. For more information, visit mypgc.us/COVID vaccine. Here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for Maryland. State health officials have confirmed nearly 1,500 new cases since yesterday. Of those, 178 are in Prince George's. The county remains the hardest hit of all the jurisdictions in Maryland since the start of the pandemic. There have been more than 96,000 coronavirus cases in Prince George's. The second hardest hit county is Montgomery, with more than 79,000 cases. The Prince George's positivity rate is at 3.99%. 16 people have died of COVID-19 since yesterday. 796 remain in the hospital. Housing rights organizations are hosting a rally and sleep out in Annapolis tomorrow night. The groups, including CASA, are calling on Governor Larry Hogan to implement protections for renters. CASA says thousands of Marylanders are on the verge of eviction. Patricia Aliman is just one tenant who says she's struggling to keep her family from being evicted.
Claro que sí, estaba preocupada porque por medio de la pandemia quedamos, mi esposo quedó sin trabajo.
Being evicted because my husband lost his job as a result of the pandemic, and I lost many hours of my work as a result of the pandemic.
The goal of the rally tomorrow is to call on Governor Hogan to take immediate action to implement an eviction moratorium right now so more families don't get kicked out of their homes.
The rally will take place at Lawyers Mall starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow. A series of new laws go into effect in Maryland on Friday, October 1st. The laws address early voting and increase protections for the LGBTQ community, including gender identity in hate crime cases. Police reforms will include more transparency for officers, conduct records, and independent investigations of deaths in police custody. Anton's Law, as it's known, will also place restrictions on the use of no-knock warrants. New criminal justice laws will also decrease sentences if incarcerated individuals continue their education. Another new law taking effect tomorrow will prohibit life sentences without parole for minors tried as adults. Delegate Jazz Lewis says it's known as the Juvenile Restoration Act.
Last year we passed a bill called the Juvenile Restoration Act, which was giving juvenile lifers a second chance. If they've served 20 years, they're entitled to a hearing for a judge. They're not entitled to being released, but being heard to see if they've changed, because people are different at 15 than 35, right? This upcoming legislative session, I'm going to be focused on making sure that they have the wraparound services that they need to be successful when coming home, whether that's housing, whether that's employment, whether that's training, because we don't want them to recidivate. The data shows that they're not likely to, but the way you can guarantee that is give them all the resources they need to be successful.
Other laws taking effect on Friday include the prohibition of balloon releases by adults, and veterans will be able to adopt a pet without a fee. You're watching CTV News. I'm Keisha Butts. We'll be back in a moment.
In 2010, Liz was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. After losing her job due to treatment, she was left with few options. A housing voucher gave her hope that she could find a place to live with her daughter. To her surprise, that same voucher would result in her being denied housing.
I felt so dejected and ashamed. It was shocking to me that people actually just discriminated against you for the type of income you were utilizing to pay your rent.
Now, thanks to a new law in New York State, it is illegal for people like Liz to be denied housing based on their source of income. Do you use non-wage income such as veterans or disability benefits, Section 8 vouchers, or child support to pay for housing? If you suspect discrimination, call 1-800-788-9898 to contact the New York State Office of the Attorney General or visit endincomebiasny.com.
I am at this point proud to say that I am using my voucher and a proud renter of an apartment where my daughter and I are very happily living.
Welcome back. A U.S. Olympic swimmer's fall from grace continues as he pleads guilty to storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6. Cleet Keller pleaded guilty to a felony charge for obstruction of an official proceeding. Court documents reveal that he brushed off law enforcement officers trying to remove him from the building during the insurrection. He also screamed profane language about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Keller took photos and video while inside the Capitol, but he ended up destroying his phone and memory card. The 39-year-old faces 21 to 27 months in prison. While more than 24 Prince George's schools have had students test positive for COVID-19 over the last 3 days, and some of the schools have had multiple infections. It's difficult to get an accurate number of just how many students have tested positive since in-person classes began on September 8th, due to the way the school system is tracking the virus. It lists which schools have been affected on a daily basis, but not the actual number of cases. Meantime, a Montgomery County school system employee files a lawsuit against the district's vaccine requirement. The employee, who goes by the name John Doe in the lawsuit, says the mandate violates the individual's religious beliefs. The employee was reportedly denied a religious exemption despite complying with weekly testing and mask wearing. The school system says employees will have to show proof that they received their second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine by October 29th. An important state tax credit deadline is rapidly approaching for homeowners, and one Maryland lawmaker wants to get the word out. It's called the Homestead tax credit, and you only have to apply for it one time. Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick says it's a credit that many Latinos and people of color have not accessed.
We passed a law at the legislature in 2007 that allowed homeowners who own a home and it's their principal residence to file an application one time only. And the application is filed with the state. And once you file that, then you qualify for the homestead tax credit, which means that when your home it's appraised and it goes up, it can go up more than a certain percentage. And you get that credit. Many people do not file it and are not even aware of this law. So it is due for this year, October 1st. I know that it's a problem in a lot of communities of color, not just the Latino community, but the Latino community. A lot of them have not filed the application that is needed.
For more information on the Homestead credit, log on to dat.maryland.gov. And we'll be back with more news in a moment. Stay tuned.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids could look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Thank you for staying with us. Police continue to investigate that stabbing at Bladensburg High School yesterday. Police tell CTV News that a suspect has been identified and charges are pending. It happened as a fight broke out inside the school. Investigators say a school resource officer was told about the fight at around 1:30. The SRO found a student with cuts to the upper body. The victim was taken to a hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Prince George's County Police are investigating a shooting that took place in the 10900 block of Hackberry Court in Clinton last night. Officers say the victim was the suspect in a domestic-related homicide that took place in the same neighborhood last week. He is 25-year-old James Kirkland. Kirkland was charged with fatally shooting his girlfriend, 24-year-old Myona Tillman. That incident took place last Friday. Police are describing last night's incident as a death investigation. When the Maryland football team takes the field against Iowa University tomorrow night, it will promote the importance of mental health awareness. Fans will see a public service announcement video promoting awareness. Author Rachel Mary Boo, who has worked with the team over the years, is partnering with the Terps on the event.
When a guy tears an ACL or breaks an arm, it's visible. When a guy's brain or a person's brain isn't healthy, we don't always understand it, and I think it's up to us and people to have these types of platforms to be able to bring some awareness.
We're actually debuting something this week at Maryland that I have dreamed about for a long time, and it's called the I'm Changing the Narrative chair. It will be at field hockey tonight. It will be at football on Friday. It's a blue chair. The whole idea and the premise of the chair is to sit down in it or any chair at home, and there is a set of questions that's on the one sheet. And it's things like, what is something you've been through in your life that was meant to kill you or that was very hard? And what did you learn from that? Inside, you've got any other variety of mental disorders. You're struggling alone. And we wear this mask for people. And what we say is take off the mask. And what Coach Loxley is doing is he's taking off his own mask and he's showing everybody around him that it is okay to be vulnerable.
So what we want to do here at Maryland and with Maryland football is create a safe haven for where our players know that they can come, take off the helmet, take off the mask, and be able to say, hey, I'm not feeling good. Coach, I'm going through some things and I want to talk to somebody. And it's important for me because, again, as a parent who lived through dealing with a child that had mental health issues, these are issues that are real that we deal with on a day-to-day basis and not just what you guys see, the X's and O's that happen on Saturday. There are a lot of things that go on Monday through Friday in these kids' lives, and it's important for us to be able to make it a safe place for them to experience and give them the resources they need to be the best version of themselves.
The whole goal of this game and this week is for one person in the stadium or one person watching this interview to feel less defective, less broken, less alone. For one person to feel, hey, I can ask for help. Hey, guess what? It's not weak to ask for help. It's actually brave and strong and courageous.
The players will also wear green ribbons on their helmet to recognize mental health awareness. Let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast tonight. Mostly clear with a low around 51. Friday, sunny with a high near 72. Saturday, sunny with a high near 78. Sunday, mostly sunny with a chance of afternoon showers and a high near 82. And now for the community calendar. If you missed the recent walk to end Alzheimer's, there is still an opportunity to participate. Join in at the National Mall or in your neighborhood to bring awareness to the fight against Alzheimer's. The event takes place next Saturday, October 9th. Register now or make donations online at act.alc.org. And that wraps up our newscast. Join us again tomorrow at 4:30. Have a good night and stay safe.